Hello everyone. So let's solve a case today. Let's see his history. So we have a 32-year-old patient with human immunodeficiency virus presenting to us in the ER with fever of 102.5 degree Fahrenheit. And since last 2 to 3 weeks, he's also been experiencing fever with non-productive cough and shortness of breath on exertion. Moving on to his past history, he was diagnosed with HIV 3 years ago and he had oral thrush. And he was on antiretroviral therapy, but he discontinued it because of non affordability. So, what do we see here? We see fever, we see a non productive cough, and we see shortness of breath. So, let's move on to his examination. On examination, his BP was 134 by 82, his pulse was 110 beats per minute, but his respiratory rate was 28 breaths per minute. So, this is a red flag. Moving on, his oxygen saturation at rest was 89%, but it drops to 80% when he walks 100 feet. So, stop right there. This is a typical exercise oximetry seen in a lot of infections. On auscultation, his lungs were clear and he had white patches on buccal mucosa. So far, what do we have now? We have fever, we have a non productive cough in an HIV patient who is not on antiretroviral therapy anymore. He has high respiratory rate and he has typical exercise oximetry and he has white patches on his buccal mucosa. What are the differentials now? Now that we have summarized all his symptoms, his past history, let's move on to the differentials. Now we are going to divide the differentials into two types, infectious and non infectious causes. So, the infectious causes will be either mycobacterial tuberculosis or any atypical tuberculosis. Then we have fungi like aspergillosis, histoplasmosis, pneumocystis carni infection, or gyrovec infection. Other bacterial infections like Staphylococcus aureus, Pseudomonas pneumonia, Klebsiella pneumonia, etc. Moving on to the non infectious causes, we have pulmonary infarction or embolism. The patient can rarely have sarcoidosis, which can cause the symptoms. Then he might have any neoplasm related to the lung, lymphoma or Kaposi sarcoma, bronchiectasis, rheumatoid arthritis, etc. Let's see what the lab tells us. So, on lab investigations, we find out that the leukocyte count is reduced and LDH values are highly elevated. Let's see what the hen told me. Now, what do you see in this chest x ray? It shows us that there are bilateral chest infiltrates moving away from the hilar lesion. So now that we have our history, we have our past history, we have our lab investigations, we have our imaging, now we can narrow down our differentials to the diseases causing bilateral chest infiltrates. Now let's summarize the entire case. So we have HIV infection, dyspnea, fever, non-productive cough, exercise oximetry, decreased leukocyte count, elevated LDH, bilateral chest infiltrates in an HIV patient. And all this is most likely to be pneumocystis jirovecine pneumonia. Coming on to the management, we are going to divide our management into three parts. So first we'll discuss about the investigations, then the treatment, and lastly we'll be discussing about the prophylaxis or prevention. Investigations, so we already had a chest x-ray showing bilateral chest infiltrates. Then we can have a CT scan showing typical ground glass interstitial infiltrates. We can do blood gas analysis which will show hypoxia. Then we already have LDH elevated levels. We can do a pulmonary function test showing reduced diffusion capacity. But the diagnostic procedure will be examination of induced sputum stained with silver stains and PCR or immunofluorescence of bronchoalveolar lavage or transbronchial biopsy. Methenamine silver stains the cyst wall while Giemsa stains the wall of trophozoites and sporozoites. Coming on to the treatment, now we have divided this into again mild and moderate to severe. So in mild cases, we give trimethoprim 5 mg per kg 6 hourly plus sulfamethoxazole 25 mg per kg 6 hourly, or we give trimethoprim 5 mg per kg 6 hourly plus dapsone 2 mg per day, or we can give pentamidine or atovaquone. Now moving on to moderate to severe cases. The first line is similar to mild cases. So trimethoprim 5 mg per kg 6 hourly plus sulfamethoxazole 25 mg per kg 6 hourly. IV. So here we give IV. In mild cases we can give orally, but in moderate to severe cases we have to give IV. Then we can give pentamidine or clindamycin plus primaquine, and in all cases we have to add prednisolone 40 mg twice daily for 5 days, and then again 40 mg per day for 5 days, and then 20 mg per day for 11 days. So that is how we taper the dose off. Now, what do we do to prevent this infection in HIV patients? Because HIV patients are susceptible to pneumocystis jirovecii pneumonia. So, what do we give prophylactically? So, depending upon the CD4 T cell count, if they are less than 200 per microliters, or the patient has oropharyngeal candidiasis, which our patient had, or the patient has a prior bout of this pneumonia. So we have a first line choice and alternative. So first line will be trimethoprim sulfamethoxazole combination. Alternate therapy will be dapsone, pyrimethamine, or leucovorin, or aerosolized pentamidine. Also, we have to stop this if the CD4 T cell count increases about 200 per microliters for more than 3 months. So these patients won't require prophylaxis. So that sums up our entire case. Thank you.